The National Police of Ukraine announced a large-scale international special operation dubbed Avengers 2, during which 654 militants from the Russian private military companies Wagner and Redut were exposed. The details were published by the press service of the Ukrainian police. Over 70 searches are being conducted simultaneously in Ukraine and Moldova, both at the addresses of those involved in the case and at the residences of their relatives. Ukrainian investigators have already identified the mercenaries' recruitment points, their training bases, their routes, and the commanders who led their participation in the military operations against Ukraine. Police have collected a substantial amount of evidence: documents, video recordings, telephone data, and eyewitnesses' accounts, confirming the shooting of civilians and prisoners of war by militants, as well as the use of weapons prohibited by international conventions. Following the investigation, charges have already been filed against 11 Ukrainian citizens who, during martial law, defected to the enemy and joined the ranks of Wagner and Redut, fighting against their compatriots. As part of the second phase of the operation, Ukrainian police transmitted information on more than 280 foreign mercenaries participating in the war against Ukraine through the Department for International Police Cooperation, Europol's Siena channel, and Interpol. This data was forwarded to the competent authorities of Azerbaijan, Armenia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Moldova, Kazakhstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan and Turkmenistan. For the first time, Ukrainian law enforcement officials have gathered sufficient evidence to prosecute a foreign citizen under Article 447 of the Criminal Code of Ukraine for mercenarism. The man in question is a Moldovan citizen who fought for the Wagner PMC and personally participated in the capture and destruction of Bakhmut. For this role, he was awarded not only medals from the group itself, but also a state award from the Russian Federation. Operation Avengers 2 marked Ukraine's latest step in documenting and investigating war crimes committed by Russian mercenaries. Its results demonstrate that Ukrainian intelligence agencies are capable of operating effectively, not only domestically, but also internationally, drawing the attention of law enforcement agencies around the world to those involved in the aggression against Ukraine. Besides that, Ukrainian armed forces eliminated Russian army mercenaries from nearly 30 countries. More than 500 foreign citizens fighting alongside Russian occupation forces have been killed on the front lines in Ukraine, the BBC reported, citing a joint investigation with Media Zona and a team of volunteers. The BBC clarifies that these figures only apply to those who did not hold Russian citizenship at the time of signing the contract with the Russian Ministry of Defense. The actual number of foreign fatalities is likely significantly higher, as the Russian side conceals losses, especially among those brought to fight for money or promised citizenship.
Attackers who killed at least 460 people in a city maternity hospital in Sudan's Darfur region operated in several waves as they gunned down patients and their relatives, the World Health Organization said Friday. According to Associated Press speaking from Nairobi, Saif Magango, a United Nations Human Rights Office spokesperson, said that his office had received horrendous accounts of summary executions, mass killings, rapes, attacks against humanitarian workers, looting, abductions, and forced displacement. Magango added, there must be independent, prompt, transparent and thorough investigations into all such breaches of international law and for those responsible to be brought to account. Christian Lindmeier, a WHO spokesman, provided new details about the killing spree days earlier at the Saudi maternity hospital in El Fasher. There were several waves, so to say, Lindmeier told a regular UN press briefing in Geneva. He said unspecified groups returned at least 3 times, the last of which was aimed, hard to say, but finished off what was still standing. Disrupted communications around El Fasher has made assessing the devastation inside the city difficult. Witnesses told the Associated Press that RSF fighters went from house to house, beating and shooting people, including women and children. Some 460 patients and their companions were reportedly killed Tuesday at the Saudi hospital in El Fasher, Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus, the Director General of the World Health Organization said Thursday. The RSF on Thursday denied carrying out killings at the hospital. It said it had arrested a number of individuals accused of committing violations during the seizure of El Fasher. The Yale School of Public Health's Humanitarian Research Lab said satellite imagery from Airbus corroborated alleged killings by the RSF around the Saudi hospital.
But let's start off with Saif on the executions.
Well, since the RSF made a major incursion into the city on the 23rd of October, we have received horrendous accounts of summary executions, mass killings, rapes, attacks against humanitarian workers, looting, abductions, and forced displacement. Our office has received testimonies from those who fled El Fasher terrified and who survived the frightening journey to Tawila, approximately 70 kilometers away.
On the killings at the hospital, at the Saudi maternity hospital.
All attacks on hospitals must be fully investigated and the truth found and those responsible brought to justice. I think these attacks are taking place in a context of the takeover of Al Fasher by the RSF, and we've seen the track record of summary executions, sometimes ethnically targeted, sometimes politically motivated, and it would be important for an investigation to be conducted to really establish the facts. One must remember that there are also different actors operating beside forces that are allied to the RSF, but an investigation is definitely needed to get to the bottom of this and for accountability to be done.
Safe, we also have, I'm very pleased to introduce Dr. Teresa Zakaria, who's a unit.
These latest reports of serious violations potentially amount to numerous crimes under international law in and around El Fasher and in Bara. There must be independent, prompt, transparent, and thorough investigations into all such breaches of international law, and for those responsible to be brought to account.
Due to there's lacking access, as you were mentioning, how were you able to...
There were several waves, so to say. In the first wave, doctors and nurses were abducted, up to 6 colleagues still being abducted. And some killings took place, and then the groups were the same, other groups, that's, I think, not 100% verified, but came back and started killing, came back a third time, and then basically, hard to say, but finished off what was still standing, including other people sheltering in the hospital.
For the Human Rights Office, just on the hospital incident,